Today on Successful.
Now, I'm talking this morning about influence. That's the subject of what I'm talking about. Okay? And I'm talking to our kids and our youth. Why? Because they're going back to school. And so there's a whole nother level of influence that's going to happen, children.
Come see our world, setting your heart free. Let the music dance around. Come see our world, be our guest tonight. It's such a happy time whenever you're around. Won't you come and spend some time?
And in fact, he united the kingdoms. I think we saw that yesterday. David's slogan, unite the kingdoms. So he united the kingdom of Judah and the kingdom of Israel under one throne, right? The throne of David. And his son, and David did some things that weren't so pleasing in the sight of the Lord. And so the Lord said, you're always going to have the sword in your house, right? He said some other things to him. And he also promised him, you'll also have an heir on the throne of Israel. You know, at least, you know, you'll rule over one tribe. And so we're now at a place where Solomon has died, and his son Rehoboam is now the king. Okay? Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. Now Rehoboam is the king. Okay? And because of what Solomon did, the Lord kind of stirred up some trouble for Solomon as part of his, punishment that, hey, the kingdom is going to be taken from you. And you'll, for the sake of your dad, David will keep one kingdom under your seed. And so let's start at verse 8. And I just want you to get a sense of where we are now in this story. And it says, actually, let's go back to, let's see, verse 12. Let's go back to verse, I apologize. Let's go back to verse 3. Okay? The leaders of Israel summoned him, and Jeroboam and the whole assembly of Israel went to speak with Rehoboam. And they said this to Rehoboam, Solomon's son, your father was a hard master. Lighten the harsh labor demands and heavy taxes that your father imposed on us. Then we will be your loyal subjects. So, we will be your loyal subjects means if you don't, then we won't be your loyal subjects, right? And then you risk the kingdom going divided. Because all of us over here will serve you and be your loyal subjects if you do what our request was. The kingdom remains united. So this is a very critical time in the life of Rehoboam. Huge decision is about to be made. I want you to understand that's what's at stake. A huge decision. The kingdom can remain one or it can be split. Rehoboam replied, this was a wise reply, give me 3 days to think this over. Why? Because this is a huge decision, very, very important. Children, there are going to be decisions in your life as you now approach another level, another grade, another school year. There are going to be some very important decisions that you make this year. Okay, there'll be decisions that establish your reputation. There'll be decisions that establish your credibility. Can I believe you when you say this, that, and the other? There'll be decisions around what we expect from you. Because you've always made A's, I expect you to continue to make A's. Because you've always been a trouble in my class, guess what I'm expecting? You to continue to be a trouble in my class. And so people begin to make judgments about you, judgments simply meaning decisions about how they're going to treat you based on the decisions you have made and how you have conducted yourself. There are going to be some very important decisions for you to make this year. They're going to establish some of these things for you. Better for you to have a good name than silver and gold. Better for you to be known as someone who tells the truth than somebody who gets along with everybody even though you're a liar. Better to be a straight A student because you give diligence to your work than you to be liked by all the people who try to distract you from your work. You're going to establish some things this year that are very important to your future. When you come home, do you get on your homework and get it done? Because you are establishing for yourself an academic character. What is your academic character? Are you serious about the schoolwork? Or is it just something I gotta do? But I'm really not learning anything. Why? Because I'm not really into it anyway. That's your decision. There's going to be some very important decisions for you to make. And they're going to make a difference this year and into your future. I went to my son's new school the other day, and I said, I'd like to get him into the tag program. They said, oh, well, you're usually tested in the 3rd grade. And whatever you score on that test determines where we put you for the rest of your career. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Until the next time of testing, which could be another 3 or 4 years. So the more challenging work, you mean to tell me he won't get because he's not a part of the tag program because of his performance on one test when he was in the 3rd grade? Point is, there are some decisions that you're going to make that impact you from a pretty good ways away from now. Do you understand? Make sure you make wise choices. So let's read the decision of Rehoboam, and let's see what his choices were and what he did. Rehoboam replied, give me 3 days to think this over, then come back for my answer. So the people went away. Then King Rehoboam discussed the matter with the older men who had counseled his father, Solomon. Stop. The older men had counseled who? Who was his father? Now, what was Solomon known for? The wisest man on the face of the earth, right? Isn't that what God said? And yet these were the counselors for his father. So, if you want to be wise, hang around. If you want to be a lawyer, hang around. If you want to build homes, hang around those who. Do you follow? So Solomon went to, so Rehoboam went to right or wrong people? The right people. These are the men, the counselors to his father that helped him establish peace throughout the entire kingdom. Was broader than any other time in Israel's history. Okay? Helped him gain extraordinary wealth. So these were the right people to be talking to. Good decision, Rehoboam. So the old counselors replied, and he asked them, hey, how should I answer these people? The older counselors replied, if you are willing to be a servant to these people today and give them a favorable answer, they will always be your loyal subjects. What's the prerequisite? If you are willing to be a servant. Okay, in the face of wise counsel, there'll always be a choice that you have to make. And the choice is not just to accept the wise counsel, it's the conditions of the counsel. God does this all throughout history, all throughout scriptures. It's a choice that you have to make. If you do this, then this. And there'll be some if-thens for you too, just like it is for all of us. So let's hear what Rehoboam said. But Rehoboam rejected the advice of the older men and instead asked the opinion of the young men who had grown up with him and were now his advisors. So to me, this is like the perfect example. You've got children, youth, you've got elders all around you. And I mean elders, meaning people who have gone there, been there, done that, all of it, right, got the t-shirt. And then you have your peers. That's this scenario. We're looking forward into your future, into decisions you're trying to make to empower you to make right choices and to teach you why they are the right choices, to get you to focus in and do what you need to do, to teach you wisdom. These were the wise men of Solomon's kingdom. They were there to teach Rehoboam wisdom about how to rule, about how to lead. Do you understand? About to say, these are the mistakes your father made. Don't do these. Go in this way. To exercise discipline for you. He rejected that and instead embraced not the counsel, but the opinion. Opinions. Opinions. Means it might be wrong, it might be right. There's no wisdom here. It's just what I think. The opinions. And guess what happens with opinions? They change. Today I love you, but tomorrow I'm throwing you shade. Today you my girl, you my man, but tomorrow I'm throwing you shade. Today, come on, let's go do this. Tomorrow it wasn't me, it was all him. Opinions of his peers. He chose to embrace those and reject the counsel, the wise counsel of his elders. And then he said, so what is your advice? How should I answer these people who want me to lighten the load, the burden imposed by my father? The young man replied, this is what you should tell those complainers who want a lighter burden. My little finger is thicker than my father's waist. Yes, my father laid heavy burdens on you, but I'm going to make them even heavier. My father beat you with whips, but I will beat you with scorpions. 3 days later, Jeroboam and all the people returned. Jeroboam was the leader of all the people, returned to hear Rehoboam's decision, just as the king had ordered. But Rehoboam spoke harshly to the people, for he rejected the advice of the older counselors and followed the counsel of the younger advisors. He told the people, my father, he told them what they said, and then so they said this, so the king paid no attention to the people. I'm down in verse, verse 15. He says, so the king paid no attention to the people. This turn of events was the will of the Lord, for it fulfilled the Lord's message. Now I'm going to jump down to verse 16. When all Israel realized that the king had refused to listen to them, they responded, down with the dynasty of David. We have no interest in the son of Jesse. Back to your homes, O Israel. Look out for your own houses, O son, O David. So the people returned home. And bottom line, this kingdom was now split out of one decision that Rehoboam made by not listening to his counselors, the older counselors, by listening to his peers. Kids, beware of who you listen to. Beware of who you surround yourself with. It's called your environment. Be aware of your environment, of who's in your circle. Be aware of those who call you friends, but may not always be with you in righteousness. Be aware, and not just be aware, but be an influencer of those who choose to put themselves around you and those you choose to put yourselves around. Be an influencer. Establish your way very boldly, very cleanly, and very simply. And guess what? The Lord will protect you. The Lord will be your backing. God will bring you the people that He wants you to connect with. If you stand with Him and stand for Him. Parents, be aware of your children's environment. Their external environment has a great deal of influence on what happens on the internal. How they think about themselves, what they think about themselves. It's huge. Be very aware of your environment. Okay? I'm going to give you one more scripture and then we'll wrap it up. And this is Proverbs 1. And the way it reads in the Bible that I'm reading, which is the New Living Translation, the purpose of Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 1. These are the Proverbs of Solomon, David's son, king of Israel. Listen, you need wisdom, kids, as you go forward. And I'm going to pray that at the end of this today, that you have wisdom. Their purpose, these are the reasons for the Proverbs. Their purpose is to teach people wisdom and discipline. wisdom and discipline. Their purpose is to teach people wisdom and discipline, to help them understand the insights of the wise. Their purpose is to teach people to live disciplined and successful lives, to help them do what is right, just, and fair. These proverbs will give insight to the simple, knowledge and discernment to the young. Did you hear that? Knowledge and discernment. You need discernment. Who's my friend? Who's not my friend? Who's with me? Who's not with me? When I observe my surroundings in my new setting or in a setting that I'm coming back to, who has changed this year and who hasn't? Who's the same as they've always been? Who do I need to surround myself with? Who's surrounding themselves around me? Being aware of your environment so that you can choose through discernment and wisdom what's best and what's right.
This concludes today's broadcast of Successful Living. And remember, if you meditate on the word day and night, you will make your way prosperous and you will have good success.